joints right here, man, that you play when you feeling down on your ism, right? Play this shit right here and resuscitate your pimping and get you right back on your mission, right? For you hoes, this that shit you play when you ain't feeling like super hoe today. Play this shit right here and spark up your hoeing and get you right back going, you dig? Dig this. Pimps for real, don't mistake it for fashion. The turf that birthed my reputation for mashing was the track with active, attractive hoes. Professional goers that attract the dough. Like magnets to metal, never settle. We scorching them fag bitches pedal for them portions. My whores win it all. Not the ones on the sideline wishing but didn't ball in the guidelines. My bitches did it all. Down 7 below in the snow for dope. Over 120 in the sun for fun. They mash for hours, hooker baths, not showers. Bright and early, down and dirty for the cash and power. They gotta get the cash, the towers, and reach it all to a pimp. In my position, I'm all but exempt. These bras not wimps, I'm like them renegade bitches. BFFs with tricks but never getting paid riches. Grenade bitches, they dynamite, blowing up on the pimpin' and missing when the time is right. But when they life gets strife, they see pimpin' shining bright, but they action is life without. Bitch, one strike, you out. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. See, that's the difference, nigga. The pimpin' mashing for these riches, nigga. Nothing like you master magician, niggas. Smoking mirrors with your game, hella extras to reflect the opposite appearance of a lame. Bitches coming from y'all, I can't rock with those. Tender-footed and rooted in them doctor shows. Soft shoe rituals, minute residuals. Papers on life support, your loots and critical. Something I learned about when running my earned route. Then working with turnouts is murdering burnouts. Cause knocking one of you niggas for a scarred bitch. That's knocking one of you niggas for some garbage. I'm heartless regardless. Empty with sympathy, but banked up to the max with pimpathy. No remedy for me, I'm like this. My life is vice grip, synced in permanent ink. You can't rewrite this. My blood type is P positive, beautifully deposited with a lot of it. I'm popping this shit, and when I pop it so hard I make a trapping ass bad bitch wanna hoe hard. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Come on, pimpin', man, pop that shit. Show these sucker niggas they can't stop that shit. Let these hookers know if they wanna cop that shit. Treat the bag like it's hot, bitch, and drop that shit. And to you hoes, if you ever took a lost bitch, show these bitches how to bounce back like a boss bitch. Let them know that the best way to floss, bitch, is reach that paper to some pimpin' hoe and toss it. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Okay, what's happening with y'all, man? Y'all let me know if the audio is cool. Let me know if my background is too loud or something like that, or if my mic is too loud or too low, let me know. Let a pimp know what's going on, man. Okay. My brother Young Smooth in the house. Hey, listen, man. Hold on. Listen, y'all see my brother, Mr. Mogul Maker, right there. Let me tag his comment. Okay, or pin his comment rather. Now y'all see the pinned comment, right? Let me make sure my audio is good first. Okay, audio is all good. Everything all good. You buffering sometimes. Okay, cool. My audio is decent. I don't see myself buffering, but if you see me buffering, I don't know. It might be your signal, cause I look good on my end. I just can't hear myself, so cause I ain't got no headphones on. But y'all say I sound good, so I'm good. See, what y'all probably can't hear is the fan is on, and the fan is super loud. I ain't trying to get my young Aunt Hefe on. Shout out to Aunt Hefe, but y'all know Aunt Hefe. Hey, that's one thing I love about Aunt Hefe, because he just raw and uncut himself. You know what I mean? Like, Aunt Hefe, though, not only do he not see, it's other things. See, Aunt Hefe tell y'all that he don't care about nothing but what the checks say, but it's other things that Aunt Hefe don't care about besides what the checks say. Aunt Hefe don't care about the background. He gonna have dirty laundry in the background, and Hefe gonna have, his girl walking past, his kids gonna be, you probably ain't gonna see his kids, but you gonna hear the kids in the background, you know what I mean? You gonna hear a loud ass fan, you know what I mean? Those is other things Aunt Hefe don't care about besides what the checks say, you know what I mean? But shout out to young Aunt Hefe, though. I fucks with his content. But listen, hey man, y'all see the pinned comment. That gentleman right there, Mr. Mogul Maker. If you need any game about raising capital, funding your business, or any game about loans, credit, anything of that realm. If you need any game in that realm at all, Mr. Mogul Maker, I'm telling you, he just getting his YouTube channel started, so that's why y'all ain't familiar with him. But trust me, a year from now, everybody gonna be talking about bro, because as far as what I've seen, he's the coldest when it comes to talking about any of that game. And it ain't, he not gonna give you no information that's gonna get you caught up like some other people. He ain't gonna give you no information that's gonna get you arrested. It ain't no con game. It ain't no, I don't want to say nobody's names, but people that get fake muscles put in their body and all that type of shit. It ain't none of that type of game. Mr. Mogul Maker gonna give you some real game that's gonna stick to your ribs that you're gonna be able to utilize for the rest of your life. Like, and he just giving it up. Like, when you go to his channel, you're gonna see he just giving up raw game that's like, damn. If he giving this game away for free, imagine what type of game he got that you could pay for. And he got the Mogul Maker Academy as well, and you'll learn about all that when you go to his channel. But that's his community where people join and they get information, pertaining to all of that. So yeah, man, go check out, excuse me, go check out Mr. Mogul Maker. Man, a whole lot of game, like just game that you're gonna be like, damn, I can't believe he gave this game away for free. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not only is he dropping game, but if you want to deal with him one-on-one, you can. He's very approachable. He's very accommodating. He gonna go above and beyond to help you out in whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to build your credit or build your business or any of that type of stuff. What type of business you should be, all of that, man. I'll be all, that's my brother though, for real though. So I'll be on here all night talking about him. But yeah, y'all go check his channel out and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell when you subscribe so you get notifications whenever he drop. But yeah, that pinned comment, go ahead and subscribe and check him out. But y'all know my first order of business, man. And listen, this love, it ain't never been more necessary than it has been right now. Well, anywhere tropical, Hawaii, Miami, any of the, islands or whatever. But down here in Costa Rica, man, this shit right here. I ain't trying to promote nobody. They gonna have to cut a pimp a check first, you dig? But this shit right here, this love, yeah, you need this down here, man. You got to stay hydrated because, man, the weather calls for it. Cheers to the game. Y'all see a pimp ain't got his champagne flute or his suit. Well, I got my suit. I just ain't gonna be wearing a suit every day down here like I do up there. But yeah, man, we still gonna kick this game though. We still gonna get off into this game. And speaking of this game, man, hey, I'm sure some of y'all in attendance right now, man. Is some of y'all in attendance right now, this gang banging, and you probably think that it's possible or that it's cool or that it's a good idea to gang bang and pimp at the same time. And you know, there's things that go on, man, and you know, these things that go on usually have patterns associated with them. And one beautiful skill to have and one vital necessary skill to have in whatever it is that you do, but if you're trying to be successful and thrive and survive and whatever it is that you're doing, pattern recognition. You got to be able to recognize patterns, man. And you know, when you're able to recognize patterns, you can see things before they unfold. As soon as they get to start, as soon as the ball gets rolling, you know, you can identify that type of stuff. So with that being said, man, if y'all can't recognize the pattern of what's about to go on, and some of y'all probably think that it's just going to be a LA or a California thing. No. That's just where they making the greatest example at, because that's where a lot of the nonsense and foolishness been going on. But trust me, they just getting started. They not done. And if you don't recognize this as the beginning of a new pattern of what's about to be going on, then you crazy. See, me, I'm old enough to remember the dope game and remember how everything fell apart. You know, my uncles, a lot of y'all probably done heard me tell them stories a little bit, but you know, my uncles, they all sold dope. Well, not all of them, but my 4 youngest uncles, you know, they sold big dope in the 80s. And, you know, not just them, but, you know, some of my cousins and just, you know, people in the neighborhood all around, you know what I mean? Like if you was a kid in the 80s and 90s, man, you remember seeing the dope boys with the pager and the jewelry in the sweatsuit, the tracksuit, you know what I mean? With the, you know, whether they got a perm or a jerry curl or finger waves or whatever, they, you know, the dope boys was just some fly dudes. But those of y'all who remember them days remember the rise and the fall of a lot of them. And the same thing happened across the country. Little did we know back then. We just see what's happening in our backyard at the time. But in retrospect, looking back at it, the same shit was happening all over the country at the same time. You know, because, of course, you know, like other things, the dope game really kicked off in California, and then it spread all over the country. And next thing you know, every ghetto across America got crackheads and dope dealers and all that type of shit, right? So, you know, they start putting different things into effect. Things started to change. You know, one big change that took place back then was the 3 strikes law. You know, it started in California first, and then before you know it, a lot of other states throughout the country adopted the 3 strikes law, and people was getting struck out everywhere, you know what I mean, for very small amounts of dope. And it wasn't just the dope game that was affected by that. You know, people that was caught stealing or assault, you know, all types of stuff. But it was heavily influenced by the dope game, though. So, you know, it was a pattern that kicked off, you know, on the West Coast, and then it's spread all over the country, and before you know it, cats is getting struck out all over the place, or just getting, horrendous amounts of time, hundreds of years, for some bullshit. So, but that's back, like I said, all across ghettos, all across America, black communities, everybody wanted to be the dope man. All the rappers was rapping about the dope man. And when you was in the community, the dope man was the one that was shining. The dope man was the one with the money, the women, the luxurious lifestyle. That's who everybody, well, most people wanted to be. If you was a little kid and you didn't have like aspirations, well, you might have had aspirations to do something else. But when you see this in your face all the time, them influences start tugging at you, and then you might be 12, 13 years old, and your homeboy that lived next door to you that you used to be in the playground with, now he's selling dope, and he buying a new Sega Genesis with the new video games, or the new Super Nintendo, or all that shit with the new video games, and he buying the brand new shoes, and you know what I mean? Before some cats was 12, 13 years old with a car, a clean ass car too. You know what I mean? I remember my brother, man, because my older brother, he went to back then it was called junior high school. My older brother went to junior high school with Cash Jones, who a lot of y'all know as Whack 100. Him and my brother is the same age, and I remember him telling me that when they was in the 7th grade, the boy Whack 100, he was short as hell, but he used to drive to school in the 7th grade. He used to drive to school in a clean ass Seville Cadillac. I think he said it was green or something like that. But he said Whack 100 used to drive to school in the 7th grade. You're about 12 years old. So picture Whack 100 at 12 years old, short. He already short now. He probably was even shorter back then. Because my brother said he used to wonder how he could see over the damn dashboard and the steering wheel. But, it was a lot of that going on. It's like every ghetto across America, had people like that, 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, driving cars, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, fucking women, all of it, doing a whole bunch of grown man shit at 12 years old. And see, I know a lot of y'all can't imagine that right now because of the way times is, kids aren't as mature at that age as they used to be back in the day. But that's a whole nother conversation though. But I say all of that to say, the same way a lot of people wanted to sell dope back in the days, nowadays, a lot of people want to pimp. And see, like with the dope game back in the days, right? You had all different kind of dudes selling rocks. Of course, you had gangbangers selling rocks, but you had young people that didn't gangbang but was just trying to take care of their family selling rocks. You know what I mean? Some people probably was going to school. Matter of fact, Freeway Ricky, the one who is credited for kicking off the dope game, he learned how to cook dope from his I think it was like a college professor or something like that. So he was somebody that was going to school and then, stumbled upon the dope game and got heavy off into it. So it wasn't just, one type of person that was trying to sell dope because it was so lucrative. It was all different kinds of dudes trying to do it. It wasn't just, the media depicts it in a way where you think everybody who sell dope is gangbang, especially in LA. You know what I mean? You think everybody a gangbanger and, they serving dope for their hood and all this, but it wasn't just that, So on the same token, fast forward to 2025, you got a lot of different dudes trying to pimp. Of course, you got a lot of gangbangers trying to pimp, but you got a lot of squares, you got a lot of tricks, all different kinds of individuals, man. Like, I think it's probably more different kinds of individuals trying to pimp nowadays than it was different kinds of dudes selling dope back in the days. You know, yeah, so, but again, back to the patterns. You know, me, myself, I see a pattern about to become a big thing, you know, and a lot of people probably don't recognize it or probably want to ignore it or think that they're an exception to it, like it's not going to happen to them. But, you know, like for instance, right, another pattern did change the game is, you know, about 11, 12 years ago, the laws changed. You know, historically, you know, if you get caught with a broad, you'll get charged with pimping and pandering, and the most you're gonna see is probably like 5 or 6 years, right? But then, like I said, about 11, 12 years ago, 2013, 2014, they came with some new laws for the same thing. They just painted a different picture of it, you know, tried to put the Jermaine Dupri Puff Daddy remix on it, but it was the same thing. They just made it uglier to the masses and, you know, got people to support these laws. But, you know, pimping and pandering became human trafficking. Now, pimping and pandering laws is still on the books even right now. And, you know, every once in a while, you know, dudes still get charged with pimping and pandering. But it's really a thing now where if you get caught with a broad, man, they immediately trying to hit you with the human trafficking. They ain't thinking about hitting you with the pimping and pandering because they could charge you with human trafficking for the same thing. Essentially, it's the same thing, but again, they just came with different language, worded things differently, changed the image of what a pimp is, and here you have these human trafficking laws. And obviously the difference is ridiculous when you're talking about time. You get a whole lot more time for a human trafficking conviction than you do a pimping and pandering conviction. And it's pretty much the same shit. So, but that was a pattern that took place. And now, ever since that time, 2013, 2014, that's when you started hearing about pimps getting 300 years, 100 years, life sentence without the possibility of parole. All this different pimps never got them kind of convictions. Pimps, you know, never faced that kind of time. But, you know, when the laws changed at that time, that's when that started taking place. But that was a pattern that became a thing, and it's still a thing right now. You know what I mean? So fast forward to today, 2025, they let you know on the news with that Figueroa, you know, Hoover, RICO indictment, human trafficking thing. You know, they made a big deal out of the fact that this is the first time that, you know, the FBI has charged somebody with a RICO based on human trafficking, right? This is the first time they've done this. And, you know, they pretty much, you know, like going back in time to use that as a point of reference, right? With the dope game, when they changed the laws and shit, they pretty much dismantled the dope game. Like when they came with the 3 strikes law, that was the beginning of the end of the crack era, right? With the RICO, that was the beginning of the end for the Italian mafia, right? Up until they charged them with the RICO, you know, they was thriving. They was doing their thing. They was extremely powerful, you know, ridiculously influential, and they was having their way, and wasn't nobody trying to get in their way. So, you know, they used the RICO to dismantle the Italian mafia. And now here they are now coming with the RICO. You know, that again, like few years back, they started you know, targeting gangs with the RICO, right? Somebody must have got the bright idea, like, well, shit, we did it with the mafia. Who the hell are these Bloods and Crips and Sureños and Norteños and all that shit? If we could take down the mafia with that shit, we could take them down too. So that's what's going on now. So you know, it's just now they got the idea, like, well, shit, if we took down the mafia, we done took down a whole bunch of Bloods and Crips and 13s and 14s. You know, we could take down these gang members that's trying to pimp too, or just pimps, period, because it's starting with gang members. But now, you know, it can be a thing. It can be a thing where, and this is something that we never even imagined, right? But it can be a thing where now the pimps don't even have to be a part of a gang. You know, it could be some straight-laced pimps, but if they associated with each other in any kind of way, they can put them together and create a RICO case, right? And make them a gang, right? This is what you got to pay attention to. You got to, when you see them promoting, like, yeah, we just charged some pimps as a gang with human trafficking. If you think about that, then you understand the possibilities of what's going to take place in the future, right? So just think of like some pimps in a whole totally different city. You know what I mean? Where gang banging ain't so prevalent. But you know, you have these different pimps, like just think about how they could tie things together, like, okay, this pimp knocked this pimp for a bitch, right? And they might not even really know each other or be too familiar with each other, but that's the connection. Once this one knocks this one and calls him and like, hey man, I got the bitch, whoopty whoop. Now they're tied together, and they might not even know each other, but that ties them together. And then, you know, this one who got knocked, he had a birthday party, and he did a little 10-second video with this one over here and tagged them in it. So now that ties them together. You know what I mean? And they go look at his Instagram and they see that, you know, he doing the same thing. So you can just, you know, that should give you an idea of where all of that could go. And, you know, these dudes ain't part of no gang. But guess what? They gonna say that they a gang and that they pimping for a criminal enterprise. So now they gonna charge all of them and probably 10 other dudes. They gonna connect them all the same way, and now they got a RICO case with a bunch of pimps who was never initiated in a gang, never claimed to be a part of a gang, and, you know, that's what they do. You know, they put people together and say that they a gang, right? So that's just like prime example. The dude P4K, he's not from Hoover. He's a gang member, but he's not from Hoover, right? But they tied him into a Hoover indictment, a Hoover RICO case, because obviously somewhere along the line he got tied in with somebody from Hoover, you know, and, you know, that's what's being said, that in the paperwork, allegedly, supposedly, that, you know, he I think he knocked somebody for a broad, and then that somebody knocked the broad back and all that type, whatever the situation was. But that other individual is from Hoover. So that's part of the way that he got tied in, you know, but he might as well be from Hoover now. The FBI is saying he from Hoover. So it's like, or they put him with the Hoovers, you know what I mean? But that's just a prime example of how shit can go, right? So, you know, that, but I say all of this to say, right, the gangbanging and the pimping is the most foolish thing to ever try to do. You know what I mean? Because it's about to get real ugly. It's gonna be ugly for pimps that ain't never in their life even thought about being a part of a gang. It's gonna be scary for them. So if you are you're actually a gang member, gang banging, and you trying to pimp at the same time, oh my goodness. And then you got homies from your set just trying to pimp, because that's what gang bangers be doing. You know, they try to turn their homies on to the game, you know, and they try to, you know, do that and use it as like a bragging right. Like, yeah, man, I got all my young homies pimping. Like, this is what goes on, though. It sounds ridiculous, but this is really what's going on, right? So them dudes that's doing that, man, it's about to be real scary for them. It's about to be extremely scary for them. I'm scared, and I'm not even from a gang. I'm not from I don't know no aces, no deuces. I'm not from no gang, you know what I mean? I'm like old man Willie Manchester. I don't know no aces, no deuces, but I'm scared. I'm in Costa Rica, and I'm scared, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, the gang banging, man, and the pimping, you know, if you haven't caught on now, after me breaking everything down like I just did, if you haven't caught on to what's gonna be most likely happening in the very near future, the gang banging and pimping is about to come to an end. Just like the mafia, just like the crack era, you know, and a lot of ways that gangs operate, you know, the gang banging and pimping is about to come to an end. You're not even going to be able to try to gang bang and pimp without getting yourself caught up and facing some years in the triple digits. So if you can't recognize that this is the beginning of the end and put an end to it yourself and say, you know what, I'm cool. Let me stick to gang banging or go do something else. If you don't recognize that, it's gonna be ugly for you. Remember, Freeze said it. You know, and I don't wish it on nobody. I hope that people catch on and pay attention and wise up. You know, just like a lot of people did back in the day, like Eazy-E. Eazy-E's a prime example. You know what I mean? A couple people close to him lost their life, and you know, people start getting a bunch of time for selling dope. So Eazy-E was like, you know what? Let me quit while I'm ahead and get off into this rap game. You know, they say Shorty Low did the same thing. And it's a lot of people that did stuff like that back in the day, man, that you know, stepped away while they was ahead and was like, it's getting ugly. Let me leave this shit alone and, you know, go for something better. So yeah, man. You know, it's the gang banging and the pimping, man. It's pretty much over with. So, at this point, I mean, it's always been a stupid thing to try to do, but at this point, you got to be damn near brain dead to try to be a gang banger and a pimp at the same time. You have to be brain dead. Your brain don't even work. Like, why are you even trying to do this? And then, you know, that's the legal aspect of it, right? But if you just get into the logical aspect of things, the game related aspect of things, right? It just don't make sense to try to gang bang and pimp at the same time. Even if it wasn't about to get ugly and scary like it's about to be. Just historically, gang banging and pimping has just always been stupid. It does not work. You know what I mean? Because it's a certain spirit, you know, it's spirits with everything, right? And there's a certain spirit with gang banging. And that spirit is completely contrary to the spirit of pimping. They just do not have anything to do with each other. They do not make sense to try to put together. Like, gang banging and pimping is like trying to You know, it's like Biggie said, 2 dicks with no bitch. Find yourself a serious shit. It just don't make sense. It makes 0 sense, man. So let me just show you an example of how gangbanging and pimping just don't make sense, man. Let me show you an example, man. Hold on. Wait, where's it at? Okay, yeah. So, you know, we already seen Frosty the Pokemon Bandit, right? Frosty the Pokemon Bandit, a.k.a. Frosty the Snowman, a.k.a. Snow Gerb, he's a prime example of how gangbanging and pimping don't mix, right? Now, if you listen to his music, if you watch his social media, you know, everything is on F Street. Everything is, you know, Inglewood family, the gang that he's from, and that's cool. But also at the same time, he's screaming PGO, pimp this, pimp that, you know, and it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. And the result of that, what we can see, evidence of how it doesn't make sense, is because he's taking a chick that's supposed to be his 304 on missions to go and rob Pokemon stores. But this is supposed to be a 304, and you're taking her inside stores to oh man, it just is stupid, man. It's stupid as hell. But let me show you another example of how dumb this shit is. Hold on. This is Frosty the Pokemon Bandit again.
Can you just come?
Look at her calling the police on me. Calling the police on me. You strange. You strange.
You're strange.
Look at.
Now see, a pimp, this a straight-laced pimp, this operating and being led by the spirit of game. If a chick is calling the police on him, in the words of Sinful to P, out of there. Pimping gonna get out of there, man. You know, pimping ain't sticking around recording abroad that's calling the police on him. But when you're a gangbanger trying to be a pimp and trying to do both same time, you know, the game, it's like trying to find an entry into your mind, and you know, it's locked out of your mind. You know what I mean? You ever been locked out the house and you try to go to the side of the house, open the window, but that window locked too? Then you hop the fence and go into the backyard, try to open the back door. The back door locked. You like, God damn, man, ain't no way up in this crib. Then you go to the bathroom window too small. You can't get up in there. You know what I mean? You know, it just ain't no way up inside the house. You just asked out. You locked out, right? That's how the game is in the mind of a gangbanger. A gangbanger that's trying to pimp, the game gonna try to find its way up in there. But the game gonna go to the front mind. It's like, God damn, this nigga got the mind. He got his brain locked. I can't even get up in there. Gang banging inside the house partying. Gang banging up inside his brain partying, and they got the door locked. You know what I mean? I'm trying to come up in there and turn, you know, give it some balance. You know what I mean? Let the game operate in it. His brain is locked in the front door. Let me try to get into the side window of his brain. Gangbangers got that side locked too. Let me go to the bathroom. Damn. His bathroom window too small, can't fit all this game up in there. You know what I mean? Like he just assed out. You know what I mean? So this is why, again, gangbanging and pimping is just a fool's endeavor, because, you know, it just doesn't work. And this right here is evidence of it. This woman is calling the police on you, and you're recording her. Like, there hasn't been so many examples of, you know, people getting false allegations put on them, let alone real, false, whatever. You might in your mind think like, I didn't do anything to her for her to call the police, but she could say anything and they're going to book you. And you're going to be sitting in a jumpsuit in the county jail trying to collect calls, funky as hell with a bunch of other funky ass niggas. And you could have just left the scene. And you might have, been able to prolong or, get a lawyer or do something.
Strange. Call the police on me.
This girl is screaming, help me, and he's still recording her.
Well, I got you all on record.
Good.
Got you all on record.
Good.
I'm doing weird ass shit.
Can you please come? I don't want to.
I got you all on record.
Please come.
They're not gonna believe you. Nobody cares. Bye.
Please, ma'am.
Miss, you don't have to do that. She's crazy. She don't live here. She doesn't live here. No, you don't live
We
here.
live together.
No, we don't. You don't live here. How do you pay the rent?
He broke my
How do you pay the
phone. I
rent?
can't do anything, ma'am.
She's crazy as fuck.
Please call
Please.
911.
I don't care who you call. Call him. Bye. Leave. You're on camera. Bye. Bye.
And then you have the this is so this is what I call dangerously stupid. Like, you so stupid it's dangerous for yourself, for the people around you. This is truly dangerously stupid. This girl has a white woman. You're a black man and you have a white woman in your business. And this girl is screaming for help, trying to get away from you and all this shit. And you're following her and recording her while a white woman is walking up to her and handing her the phone so that she can dial 911 on you. See, this is why I say people like him, you're too stupid to be a pimp. It's simple. You can't be this stupid and be a pimp at the same time. It's impossible. Pimps use their brain. Pimps apply game. Pimps say to himself, you know what? I'll catch up with this broad another time, maybe if I can, try to talk some sense into her at the most. That's the most a pimp gonna do, but the least, which is what a logical pimp gonna do, is just get away from this broad and forget she even existed. If a broad calling the police on me, I don't want to record her. I don't want to expose her. I don't want to do none of that. I just want to get away from her. That's it. So yeah, this is just another example of how gangbanging and pimping don't mix, and then see, pimps have rules, right? Hold on. See, that's another thing, another reason why gangbanging and pimping could never mix. Gangbanging and pimping could never be a good idea, because pimps have serious rules. Pimps not only have rules for the women in their life, but pimps have rules for themselves that they are strict about and that they follow and that they don't break, right? So if you think about the nature of gangbanging, the culture of gangbanging, it's certain rules, but rules are not really a big thing. And then not only that, even the little bit of rules that they have in gangbanging, most gangbangers break those rules, right? Like, it's supposed to be a rule in gangbanging that you don't snitch. But in 2025, I say probably out of the active gangbangers, about 95% of them is going to tell if you put enough pressure on them. 95, I'm saying 95%. They going to tell, right? So that's just an example of, even if they do have some kind of rules, it's just in their nature to break them, right? Because if you think about what even leads to gangbanging, right? A lot of times it's a kid did, come from a troubled, household or something like that. But a lot of times, it's a rebellious kid. He don't want to listen to his mama. He don't want to listen to his grandma, auntie, whoever. You know what I mean? So he ends up going to jail or juvenile hall at that time, because he don't want to follow the rules. And then while he in juvenile hall, he with a bunch of other kids that don't follow rules. So they all in there fighting each other. They fighting in school. They fighting in the cafeteria. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of disobedience. If you really think about it, gangbanging and disobedience are married to each other. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really be a full-fledged gangbanger without disobedience, right? So, if you're coming from a lifestyle where disobedience is natural, and then you're trying to come into a lifestyle where obedience is mandatory in order for you to thrive. You know what I mean? A pimp is going to be obedient to himself and his own rules, and then therefore the women following his lead are going to be obedient because he's leading by example as an obedient individual to himself and his own rules. Yeah, so that makes the women that much more inclined to be obedient and follow rules themselves, right? So damn. Now it's trying to act up. Hold on. Okay, that's the first time I seen it do it on my end, but okay, yeah. That's the first time I seen it do it on my end, but if the video freezes, y'all already know, close the video and then reopen it, go out, come back in, and it'll be all good. But yeah, man, that's another reason why gangbanging and pimping at the same time is just a foolish thing to try and do, because as a gangbanger, it is in your nature to be disobedient, right? A lot of times that's what leads a kid to gangbanging, is the fact that he was a disobedient kid. He just got a disobedient streak about himself, and then he ended up getting with a bunch of other kids that's being disobedient, smoking weed and drinking at a young age, and committing crimes, and making money in the streets and shit like that. It's just a bunch of disobedience. So breaking in, stealing, robbing, all that type of stuff. So and that's just the 100. It's gangbangers out there that I got a whole lot of love for, man. So it's not to talk down on gangbangers, and I don't hate gangbangers, and I don't have nothing against gangbangers, but it's just the truth. And any gangbanger, that might be older now and wiser now, if he's honest about everything, he can even admit that yes, gangbanging and disobedience are married to each other. They hand in hand with each other. You can't have one without the other. You can't have gangbanging without disobedience, right? So, again, in the game, man, obedience is a big thing. So when you have a gangbanger trying to be a pimp, and then he got women following him, they seeing him being disobedient, right? See, when you a pimp and you being obedient to your own rules and you being obedient to yourself, the women is going to be that much more inclined. I've used examples before about me being out to eat with my ladies, right? And they might be eating something that I don't eat, and they try to feed it to me, let me try it or something like that. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. It might be some dessert or, some alcohol or whatever it is. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. When they see that makes them that much more inclined to be, obedient to some rules just like I am, right? So that's just one example. But on the flip side of that, if you a gangbanger trying to pimp and you have no obedience about yourself, you have no self-discipline, no structure, no order, no none of that, if you popping pills and the broad know you popping pills, what make you think she's gonna be like, nah, you know what, I don't want to do that? You her man. You the one that's supposed to be guiding her and leading her. So if she see you popping pills, of course she gonna want to do the same thing, right? Same thing with everything else. It's just a long laundry list of shit that a lot of these dudes, this gangbangers trying to be pimps, do. And the broads is doing it because they seeing them doing it, right? Figueroa has always, for a very long time, has been gangland. Figueroa Street always ran through the hood, right? But, and then also, you've always had dudes that come from different backgrounds in terms of gangs that put that down when they get pimping. Once they get pimping, the gang shit is like over with forever. Yeah, I'm from over there. Yeah, they know me over there. Or people know me from being over there, but I'm pimping now. So I'm not banging on nobody. I'm not looking for no enemies. I'm not set tripping. I'm not wearing, I'm not flamed up or blued up, or I'm not doing none of that. I'm not gangbanging. I'm pimping. I'm from over there. I'm always be from over there. But man, right now I'm pimping. Right? So it's a difference. And on Fig, you've had guys like that. It used to be more of a thing like that, where dudes that come from the background of gangbanging, they would get into the game and adopt the mentality of a pimp and leave the gangbanging shit behind, right? It's been so many instances that I know of where, these dudes was like from enemy hoods and they was like trying to take each other's heads off, but then they get into the game and now it's a gentleman thing. All that shit is in the past. We pimping now. So that's just the power of the pimping though. Like when you really accept it for what it is and embrace it for what it is, that's the power of the pimping. The power of the pimping can make two dudes that was from enemy hoods, but they both on their own accord said, you know what, I'm finna get pimping. I'm done with the gangbanging shit. I'm not on that no more. And, they come and cross paths in the pimp game, and it's a totally different energy. Whereas when they cross paths in the gangbanging world, they was trying to take each other's heads off. But now that they cross paths in the pimping, they toasting with each other. They chopping game with each other. They congratulating each other. They might even help each other out. Like, hey, Pete, man, you know what I mean? I got this broad over here, man. She ain't working out for me, man, but she might be cool for you, man. I'm gonna give her your line, and she gonna call you, pimp. And then, y'all can work it out from there. That y'all can handle y'all bit. I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna get out the way. This is the type of shit that happens in the game, right? But when you still stuck on the gangbanging and trying to bring that into the pimping, you don't even know how to be a gentleman. That spirit ain't gonna allow you to be a gentleman in the game. So you don't even, this is why you have so many dudes out there. You see the videos on social media, supposed to be pimps out there fighting each other. What are y'all fighting about? What is so serious where it comes to blows? Y'all trying to box each other on the blade. Y'all boxing each other on the blade. What is so serious that brings it to that point? If you just straight lace pimping, what can possibly take place? But see, because they trying to gangbang and pimp at the same time, and everything out their mouth is dead homies, and you know what I mean? That's on my set. They putting it on they set and all that type of shit at the same time that they trying to call themselves pimping and talk like pimps. This is why you see all that type of stuff, right? You know, dudes trying to fight each other, you know, dudes even having shootouts with each other, just all kind of wild shit that ain't got nothing to do with no pimping. And straight laced pimps, you know, ain't gon' the hell? It's all kind of shit up in here, man. You know, I'm in the tropical lands now, so hey man, I just seen a lizard up in here. I know if I had a broad, that's why I'm glad I'm by myself, because if I had a broad with me, she would have freaked out and probably wouldn't have been able to sleep and would have been trying to get me to get the lizard up out of here. And bitch, I ain't, you know, he was here before we was. You know, this his house. And I don't know where he at right now, but I don't know, for some reason lizards don't really bother me like that. You know, I'm more bothered with ants. It's ants up in here too. The ants been more of a bother to me than the lizard. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure there's probably other lizards up in here somewhere. You know what I mean? He was behind the couch. I don't know. Lizards don't really bother me though. But the ants been getting on my nerves though. But yeah, man. Back to this game that we never left. Listen, man. It's 261 of y'all up in here right now. And you mean to tell me only 159 of y'all, well, including the people that disliked, 163 of y'all wiped your feet off at, because I count that as you wiping your feet off at the door too. Whether you like or dislike, as long as you engaging with the content, then it's cool. You dig? If you want to hit the thumbs down, pimp ain't tripping. It's all good. You're tuned in, so I'm not tripping. But yeah, man. Go ahead, wipe your feet off at the door, hit that like button. Let me hydrate my game one more time. Water sweating and shit. It said especially lot lizards, huh? Yeah, let me shout out these supers before we continue. Truth from Troy, as always, good looking with the $2 holla. Freeze, ever check out Bill Feasy before? Nah, I haven't. I'm not familiar with who Bill Feasy is. I don't know, is he a rapper or a YouTuber or something? I'm not sure. Bill Feasy ain't hip to him. But good looking though. Tyler, as always, good looking with the $2 holla. Blessings, make it home safe. Appreciate you, man. You know I will. Justin B, good looking with the $10 holla. Appreciate you, man. My guy, good looking with the $5 holla. Tell him 16 for sure, man. Gotta give him this game, man. Good looking 10. CD Nichols, good looking with the nickel. $5 holla. You dig? That was me back in the early 2000s in LA living wild. Right. You know. Gotta learn from them times, though. I'm sure you learned a whole lot since then and evolved a lot since then. Reap Cash, good looking with the $5 holla. I know you spitting game, but did you check out and like my music? Nah, man, I still gotta check it out, man. As you can see, a pimp been on the move and shit, man. But nah, man, now because you done reminded me several times, man, I'm gonna make it a point after this live is over with. I'm gonna sit down and check your shit out, man, for real, for real. But I appreciate your persistence and good looking. Sky Dweller TV, good looking with the $5 holler. My boy Freeze got a stretch fit today. He ain't going to bust through that one. Nah, this one ain't gonna bust. You know what I mean? Pimp ain't gonna bust out of this one. But good, good looking. Sin City 16 702, good looking with the $2 holler as always, man. How long you plan to stay there, P? I'm gonna be here for a little minute, man. You know, I'm gonna be here for a little while, and then I think I was telling y'all yesterday when I went live. I have a flight already booked to Colombia from here, so I don't know. It depends on how things go while I'm here, man. You know, I'm digging it so far, and I ain't even got a chance to really see nothing yet. I already know. It's a lot to see and a lot to do here, man. So it all depends on how I'm feeling when the flight time comes around. I might end up going to Colombia, or I might end up sticking around here for a little while longer, man. I don't know. But then again, I don't know, man. I'm like at this moment right now, I'm thinking that I want to go to Colombia because I do want to go down there and check it out, see what's going on. And, yeah, just had that experience. But at the same time, man, Costa Rica is so damn beautiful, man. And I'm I'm loving it already. And like I said, I ain't even had a chance to really see and do much, but I'm already loving it. But, you know, I know Colombia is beautiful too. So, I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna be down. I'm gonna be out the country for a little while. Borbalism, good looking again as always with the $20 holler. Blessings to the game. Gonna need you on that Boss Mac topsoil, bro. Yeah, man. I actually talked to bro the other day in the DM, man, and yeah, let him know that I would be more than glad to hop on this podcast, man. Yeah, like I said, I fucks with Boss Mac Topsoil, man. So yeah, I'll definitely jump on there with him. I had let him know that I'm out the country right now, but when I get back, you know, I'll be more than glad to pull up and join them, man. Because, you know, we could do the remote thing, like me here and him over there. That'll be cool, but I think it'll be better if I pull up, you know. And I want shit to have the best possible outcome, man. So I'd rather pull up. So yeah. Yeah, but nah, I'm definitely gonna mess with bro for sure on the podcast tip. You dig? Ray Gunn, as always, good looking with the $5 holler. She picked up the phone to call the police. Buenas noches. That's funny because as I'm reading your words, I can hear Sinful's voice in my sin voice. As I'm reading your words, I can hear bro's voice. Buenas noches. Good looking though, bro. Yeah, that's funny. Buenas noches. Simple, stupid as hell. G Sessions say, do a diss song to that fake pimp ATM Richie. Nah, you know what I mean? Because, see, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't hate nobody. I ain't mad at nobody. I ain't got a problem with nobody. But I just call shit out, though. You know what I mean? As a watchman of the game, man, I got to call shit out. And I gotta separate game from lane, man, because I just do not like the shit that I represent and stand for. And I know so many, man, I know so many solid gentlemen who done really dedicated their life to this game, man, like in a serious, real way, man. I can't let people play with that shit on the internet, man, and misrepresent it the way that they do, man. And it's bigger than just me, right? Because it's personal and near and dear to me, this game. But when I just think about all the gentlemen that I know in the game, all the gentlemen who I done crossed paths with over the years, man, like, and how dedicated and serious they are about the game, like, I just, and you know, cats that's locked up and probably ain't gonna never get out, you know what I mean, and just cats who done lost their life in the game. I just can't let people play with this shit, man. So when I see goofy shit or a misrepresentation of the game, I gotta call that shit out, man. So it ain't nothing personal against them dudes. I don't hate him or I ain't mad at, like, ATM Richie. I ain't got no problem with dude, but he's not the pimping at all. Like, again, he's too stupid to be the pimping. You can't be the pimping and be that stupid at the same time. It's impossible. You can't do it. So, and I know he probably would be upset if he heard that I called him stupid, but what Forrest Gump tell you? Stupid is as stupid does. So if you don't do stupid shit, I can't call you stupid. But if you're doing stupid shit, you know what I mean? Apple trees come from apple seeds. Yeah, so, you know, ATM Richie, he's another example of how the gang banging and the pimping don't mix. You know, here he is on a podcast with a young lady who got a presence on social media, you know, and you just, you call yourself trying to shoot your shot at her in the name of the game. You call yourself trying to pimp at her, but every other word out your mouth is dead homies. And see, this is what gangbangers don't understand, right? Gangbangers who try to pimp. This is what they don't understand. Gangbangers who try to pimp and can't let go of the gangbanging. This is what they don't understand. You know, within your world of gangbanging and within your culture, you know, people resonate with certain things. But outside of that, man, don't nobody want to hear you talking about no dead homies every other word and on the set, and you know what I mean? You talking with gang language, like, and see, that's what people don't understand. Crip Mac, he kind of like became famous for, you know, replacing different words with the number 5 and all that shit. But all of them dudes, every different set has their own different language. You know what I mean? They all got their own different language. Just the same way Crip Mac, you know, he on steroids with it, but the same way the 5-5s, the neighborhoods, the way they talk, you know what I mean? Like every different set got their different ways that they own different language. You know what I mean? That's just like where I'm from in Long Beach, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, a lot of the insanes, instead of PCH, they'll call it 3CH. You know what I mean? Like, you know, gang terminology. So that's just an example. But every gang got their different ways that they talk, right? But when you talking to a woman who's not a part of that world, ain't interested in becoming a part of that world, thankfully, she don't want to hear you on the dead homies. And like, if you really want action, if you really think you got action at knocking this broad, man, you're not going to be talking like you talking to your homeboys in the hood. She's not one of your homeboys from the hood. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, you know, and then the same woman who you call yourself shooting your shot to, you threaten the minor. And see, he tried to come behind it and say that he was just trolling or joking or whatever. No. Whatever it was that you was doing, the fact that you let those words be released from your mouth, you're stupid. Because guess what? If you end up getting booked, the police ain't going to take that. Oh, you was trolling? Okay, okay, cool. No, they're not going to take that. They don't give a damn about that. On the dead homies. So you have to be stupid to do things like that. And you cannot be that stupid and be a pimp at the same time. You can be that stupid and be a gangbanger at the same time. Because being a gangbanger, you do have gangbangers that are very smart and intelligent, and they have a higher likelihood of surviving and lasting longer and making it past that. But being smart and intelligent is not a requirement to be a gangbanger. It is a requirement to be a pimp, though. You could be a dumbass gangbanger. We all know it. Like, if you from California, we all know stupid ass gangbangers that can't spell, can't read. You know what I mean? Barely can spell their own name with autocorrect. They gotta ask ChatGPT how to spell their name. It's we all know gangbangers like that. But to be a pimp, though, you can't be that stupid. You can't be a pimp asking ChatGPT how to spell your name. No, you can't do that. So Rail said, I'm late to the party, but who's ATM Richie? Hey, Rail, man, you had to have seen, because I know the videos is all over Instagram and all that shit, but the girl, damn homie, was interviewing the dude who is from BPS Jungles, and he said F the girl Nova and her punk ass mama. Nova better stay out the way and all that shit. That dude. You know what I mean? The dude that was on Soft White Underbelly saying the dumbass shit, talking about we was gorilla pimping, putting bitches in kennels and feeding them cat food and making them take scalding hot showers and screaming in the shower till they call me daddy. And that dude, you had to have seen all the shit that's being posted about him on social media as of late. You had to have seen that. But that's who that dude is. Black Warrior Spirit said, in that gang life, the set trip era, mid-'80s through '90s, was the purge times. Most homies either locked up or dead or full-time church members, LOL. Yeah, and see, like, you got to think about the times that we in, right? Like, and I'm talking about gangbanging and pimping, but if you just think about gangbanging, period, right? Like, I get you come from a community and you represent your community and shit like that, but to be an active gang banger, we just in different times, man. Like, speaking of the 80s and 90s, the gangbangers back then was more manly. They had more man qualities about themselves. You know what I mean? Even if they was raised by a single mother, they still had more man qualities about themselves. You know what I mean? But these dudes nowadays, man, they don't stand for nothing. and they gonna tell on everybody. Like I said, man, you know these dudes that's out there, you know, hard as hell, knocking people out and shooting everybody and all that other type of shit. The majority of them is gonna tell on somebody if the pressure get put on them. They're telling, and still will shoot you and still will knock you out, but they gonna tell on you. The majority of them. You know what I mean? Because historically, we've seen some of the coldest gangsters and killers and all that shit turn snitch. And these dudes they not half as hard as them dudes back in the, like, if Sammy the Bull could snitch on, you know, his best friend, John Gotti, you know, dude that he was tight with, pretty much came up in the ranks with in the mafia. Like, if Sammy the Bull can snitch on somebody like that, then you best believe, you know, these dudes just putting it on the dead homies and, you know, free so-and-so, that's my bro, and all that shit, and putting it on the hood, man, they gonna tell on the whole hood. You know, like I said, that RICO, I can't remember what number I said. I think I said at least 8 of them is gonna tell. I think it was either 7 or 8. But yeah, this Hoover RICO indictment shit, it's 11 people on that case. I think I did say 8 of them is gonna tell. But if that's not the number I said, then I'm saying it now. At least 8 of them is gonna tell. Out of 11, 8 are going to tell for sure. I guarantee you. And some people probably like, nah, man, that's the homie, man. Man, he done really put in work for the hood. He done really did this for the homies. He done did that. You know what I mean? He solid. He down. With the, man, 8 out of 11 of them dudes, and it's abroad on there, 8 out of 11 of them is going to tell. For sure. Right? And it's gonna keep happening. They're going to keep putting RICOs on people. And see, this is why I say people is just too stupid for the game. And not only are they too stupid for the game, they just too stupid, period, to be trying to do anything. You know, people didn't pay attention to that press conference that them people gave after they took Big U and everybody on that case down. I think it was like 12 or 13 people, something like that on that indictment, right? But people didn't pay attention. The FBI gave a press conference when they took down Big U and Brick Baby and Loose Cannon and all of them dudes, right? They gave a press conference and they told you, they said, yeah, we use social media and we use the interviews that they was doing on these podcasts, and that was a lot of their evidence. They told you in a press conference. We are using social media to build cases on y'all and book y'all. Right? And all of the people this on this indictment now with the Hoovers, did they take heed to that and say, damn, you know what I mean? They just took these dudes down in the same city that I'm in, the same city that I'm from, doing the same shit or similar shit. They just took them dudes down. And they got a lot of their evidence off social media. You know what? Let me fall back from social media. No, they still posting pictures with money and bitches and cars and all this shit and saying PGO and on the dead homies and all this stupid ass shit and tagging their homies in pictures and videos and tagging the bitch and all that. Like, they didn't stop. And then here it is now. They just had another big case with like 10 dudes on it. They called the shit Operation Rich Rollin', where they arrested a bunch of the dudes from Harlem 30s and 5-5 neighborhood for a bunch of burglaries and shit over the past, I think, 3 or 4 years. They've been investigating them for some years too, or some shit like that. It all has to do with the gangbanging, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna say the same thing with them. That a lot of the evidence that they got was off social media. And people ain't paying attention. Like, we barely like 2/3 of the way through 2025. We still got about 4 months left in this month, right? I mean, in this year. And up until this point, there's already been 3 big indictments of, gang members in LA. The Rolling 60s was associated with the first one. The Hoovers associated with the second one, and then now the Harlems in the 5-5 neighborhoods or the Rolling 50s, they associated with this one. And people are still not gonna learn. They still gonna keep trying to do the same stupid ass shit. And see, that's another thing too, right? Like in the dope game, hey man, back in the 80s and 90s, them dudes was extremely smart, highly intelligent, had a whole lot of game, and they still got took down. Right? With the pimping, it's been a whole lot of pimps that were extremely intelligent, had a whole lot of game, and they still got took down. These dudes in 2025 ain't even halfway as sharp and intelligent as the dudes back in the day. So if they took down the best of the best, what you think they finna do with these dudes? They easy. They easy, man. These dudes are easy. They a walk in the park. And see, that's the cold thing about it. Like, I know law enforcement, man, they have to be like patting themselves on the back or patting, all the people who created all these platforms on the back, especially Instagram. Because they've made it a culture to snitch on yourself. They've made it an addiction to snitch on yourself. Like, a lot of these dudes are addicted to telling on themselves. On accident. They're addicted to it. Because they're letting you know, look, we using these podcasts, we using social media, we doing these interviews. And it's crazy how that shit all ties in together, right? At the same time, just think about this. And it's no knock to these platforms because they're going to do what they do. But if you're somebody that is interested in being on these platforms, you just got to think about this, right? But No Jumper is the worst. Cam Capone, at least what I like about Cam Capone, because I don't know a whole lot about Cam Capone, but he kind of strike me as a street dude, right? Cam Capone strike me as somebody who done lived a street life in his past once upon a time, right? So with that being said, Cam Capone, he don't be asking a lot of police-ass questions like Vlad and No Jumper, right? But nonetheless, Cam Capone platforms a lot of gangbangers who don't necessarily have talent per se. They're just popular on the internet, right? A lot of them are buffoons, but, whatever the case, all of them ain't buffoons though. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, Cam Capone platforms a lot of gangbangers. They're not rappers, they're not singers, they're not dancers, they're not artists, they're not entertainers, they're not entrepreneurs, they're not somebody that's gonna give you a whole lot of game. They're not adding value to your life. They just entertaining one way or another, right? But he platforms a lot of them, and then No Jumper. Those are like the main ones that platform gangbangers. That are just gangbangers. They're not nothing else, they just gangbangers, right? Cam Capone and No Jumper. Right? And so now it's a thing for gangbangers to be platformed, right? And what people don't understand is like like when Crip Mac went to jail, right? A lot of people was like, and I even was saying the same thing, like, damn, you know, Crip Mac, he was the bread and butter of No Jumper. Like, Crip Mac was getting the most views on No Jumper. Wasn't nobody getting views, even still to this day. Like, you know, Sharp is up there too. Sharp done got a lot of views on No Jumper, but as far as like one individual with the most views, aside from Adam, of course, because it's his platform, but one individual with the most views, that's probably Crip Mac. You know what I mean? Especially like because I know it's other people that got more content, like Sharp got more content, Brick Baby got more content. Him and 4 Extras is kind of like neck and neck as far as the amount of content. But as far as like the amount of views comparable to the amount of content, like Crip Mac got the most views on No Jumper. So when he went to jail, you know, a lot of people was probably thinking like, damn, No Jumper about to fall off now because Crip Mac in jail, and then he gets 4 Extras. You know what I mean? Then when 4 Extras start going to jail, you know, it's just like a constant rotation, because that's what people don't understand. Like in L.A., you got to think about it. L.A. County got what, like 13 million people, 14 million people, something like that. You think that out of those millions of people, it's not a Crip Mac in every hood, a 4 Extras in every hood? Like, it's so easy to replace them. You know, it's characters like that in every hood. Every hood got every type of dude. So, you know, we just know of Crip Mac because of the internet, but there's so many Crip Macs all over Southern California. All over, you know, California, period. Man, there's so many, like, I done met so many Crip Macs in my life. You know what I mean? Like, for real, though. People who ain't from California just don't understand. They probably think Crip, and, you know, no knock to Crip Mac, you know, free Crip Mac and all that. You know, much love to Crip Mac. But it's just the truth. Like, if you're from California, then you understand, like, man, it's a million Crip Macs in L.A. It's a million 4 Extras. You know what I mean? It's a 4 Extras from every hood. Like, for real. You know what I mean? So Adam has figured that out. So, you know, now it's to the point where if you a gangbanger, you can get on No Jumper, no problem. Especially if you a gangbanger that don't mind being a buffoon and a clown. You know, you can get on No Jumper with no problem. You know, it's like he done opened the floodgates for gangbangers. If you a gangbanger, you welcome on No Jumper. Especially if you got personality and you make people laugh, or, you know, if you just a character, yeah, you welcome on No Jumper. You know, it didn't used to be like that, even with No Jumper. You know, that's one thing at least I can say about Vlad TV. He ain't platforming a whole bunch of gangbangers. You know, Vlad too scary. But Vlad is also smart as well. I don't like Vlad, but, you know, I call a spade at the same time. And Vlad is a lot smarter and wiser than Adam. You know. But to be fair, he's older and been doing it longer. But yeah, man. Right, that's what I'm saying. Rail said you don't even have to be a rapper to be interviewed. That's what I'm saying. Like, No Jumper used to be like that. Like, it used to be where you had to be an entertainer, like a professional to a certain extent. You know, you had to be a rapper or a singer or a actor or something, you know what I mean, to get on No Jumper. Now, all you gotta do is be a gangbanger with personality, and, you know, you gonna be on No Jumper with no problem. Don Supreme says, I was in San Bernardino the other day, told me he was from Pimp, Player, Hustler, Gangster, Crip. Hold on. Why do Crips and Bloods try to add the pimping with gangbanging? How do P's feel about that? Well, yeah, PPHG, they've been around for a long time now. But it's funny when you say that. Let me see if I can find that clip, man. You make me want to see that now that you said that. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Oh, no, that's not it. Damn. I'm trying to find this video of Monster Cody talking about when he met a dude from Pimp Player Hustler Gangsta Crib. Damn. Where is that video, man? Shit. I'm trying to find it, man. Damn, I probably ain't gonna be able to find it. Oh shit, I didn't spell that shit right. Hold on. Damn, man. This look like this might be the clip, man. Hold on, I'm trying to find this shit, man. The hell? What I'm seeing commercials for. Must not be logged in or something. What the fuck? Shit is dumb as hell. Okay. I'm like, why the hell am I seeing commercials? I'm trying to find this clip, man, because this shit funny as hell, man. Monster Cody, man, rest in peace. Monster Cody was a character. And I hate to say it, but if Monster Cody was still here, he might have, I don't know, but then Monster Cody don't like no sucker shit, so he might not have ended up on No Jumper. I hope he wouldn't have. Damn, man, I know it's on here somewhere, man. I'm trying to find this shit, man. Forgive me, y'all. This shit's so funny, man. I'm like, God damn. Damn. Yeah, I can't find that shit, man. I know it's on one of these, man, but damn. But Monster Cody was talking about that shit. He was saying he met a dude, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm from Gangsters, man. Whoopty whoop." He said, "Where you from?" And Monster Cody said he was like, "Pimp, player, hustler, gangster, crib." He said, "What? Wait a minute. Wait, say that again." He said, "Man, I'm from Pimp, player, hustler, gangster, crib." Monster Cody was roasting. That shit was funny as hell, though, man. But I can't find that clip that I was trying to find. But yeah, To be honest with you, and somebody from that gang would probably have to tell you better than me. But this is just my theory about where they got that name from, right? See, the Loonies back in the 90s, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that's when that gang started. They started like probably in the mid 90s. But the Loonies had a song and it went pimps, players, hustlers, ballers, shot callers, all of us. I don't know if that song might have influenced their name because the way they said pimps, players, hustlers, even though they said ballers, shot callers, but the way they said pimps, players, hustlers, it made me think that that song might have had something to do with their name. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? And maybe if somebody that was from that gang was here, they probably could say something different or correct me if I'm wrong or confirm if I'm right. But that's my theory about where that name came from. I could be wrong. But from what I heard, that gang started like in the mid 90s. And that's around that same time when the Loonies came out with that song, Pimps, Players, Hustlers, Ballers, Shot Callers, all of us. Right, he did say that. He said, Monster Cody did say that. He said, dude needs a mood stabilizer. Man, I was trying to find that clip. Man, that shit was funny as hell. And I know that it's on this interview that I'm looking at. I just don't remember because this interview long as hell, man. So it's like, it's hard to find that video or hard to find that clip. People posted just that part before. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, I can't find that shit, man. I'm mad. I can't find that damn clip, man. Shit. Cause that shit funny as hell. I don't think it's this one. Hold on. Yeah, I can't find that shit, man. Monster Cody was a character though. He was Monster Cody. He was just a Monster Cody was a brilliant dude, man. Like, obviously he could write, you know. And Monster Cody had bars. Like, he actually could rap. So let me find that. I know I could find that. Because this was one of Sinful's favorite videos of Monster Cody. Sinful used to play this shit all the time. I used to play this shit all the time, too. I hope YouTube don't try to copyright strike me because this video, the beat. This shit so hard. Hold on, I gotta let y'all hear this shit. Hey, Monster Cody was Man, I wish, like, when I heard this shit, I was like, damn, man, Monster Cody was supposed to come out with a whole album, man. Because Monster Cody actually could spit. He could have been a rapper for real, you know what I mean?
Yeah, check it. My boy Pac, baby. See, it's all board endorsement, validated. Identified me, the crime stated. Said I'm moving with the prison gang and known fools. Put the spirit of burst field, you know the crew. C-section, steady stepping, slanging steel. For the seals, both vests on the killing field. You can still get a meal from a hot plate. 40 pictures, chicken wop, in front of the gate. Bone crush, just cutting through the imitators. Problems of guns, fear, eliminators. Enough to make the CEO shake, quit his job. Even the goon squad didn't have the fear of God. Most of us never thought we'd be leaving alive. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. Watch the gunner get your money, rip his inside. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. Watch the gunner get your money, rip his inside. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. East block, mini knock, rubbing no block gun. Not even shotguns, stop the sticking hot ones. Raise the cream like a triple in the dope dealers. You wasn't shit unless you said wine with the killers. San Quentin's what I'm spitting about back in the day. 84, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Cutting through the gate, side of killer face me. I'm on the tier, chapter side, AC. You break free from the SNE, you try to flee. Police, people see they know the light is green. On your ass with the question cutting through your spleen. Over display and raking hate on the thin line. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. Watch the gunner get your money, rip his inside. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. Watch the gunner get your money, rip his inside. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. Watch the gunner get your money, rip his inside. Lights on if you want, y'all ready to ride. Hell yeah, terminate before it's kill or die. I'm cuffed up, escorted, booty full of knives. Through the gate, eat max B. Got to get back on these fools, drop the glass me. Sit free, couldn't touch me, that's the truth. Squat low like a tie on my tennis shoe. Let the dance slip slowly out my dude shoe. G'd up, no fear, now I'm ready to work. I'm in some boxes, my Converse and t-shirt. Spinning knots, fucking lock, dick in the dirt. I creep before the fool, never even see me coming. I hit him once, when you blowing, then the gun is dumping. Hit him again, fool spinning, then he gets to running. Hit him a third time, feel some pain in my stomach. I ran back to get a force, that shit is burning. Got me squirming, turn around, damn it's getting dark. Another gun, dump one straight into my heart. Torn apart by the mini Ruger 14. So representing San Quentin for the home team. Last words that I hear is homie don't leave. That don't mean shit to me, I see you breathe. Watch the gunner get your money inside. Under the shotgun a mini, y'all skill or die. Watch the gunner get your money, rip his inside. Under the shotgun a mini, kill or die. Yeah. Watch the Cody, yeah, you know me, nigga, keep it wet. Swing my tech, no depth, y'all protect y'all neck and don't flex y'all my intellect, shit witty. Know the lead like the homies out in Crip City. Double edge, just bang, razor blade. City shots out loud, 12 gauge. Triple I, buckshot, make you hear this. Be the north side, equal to the williest. Rhyme be tight, killing glorious. Make Biggie seem small, I'm notorious. I rule left side fist with no gloves. Sex in hip hop, Glock, knock a super thug. Bloods because red and blue intertwine. I'm moving food like a duper with your center lines. Like a duper with your center lines.
Yeah, Monster Cody was cool, man. Monster Cody was alright, man. I wish he would have I don't know how much rap he had written and all that type, or how many songs he had, or I don't even know if Monster Cody ever went to like a studio and actually got in a booth and recorded some shit. But Monster Cody was cool, man. I know y'all saying, you know, he got the old school flow, the Houdini, Curtis Blow. But yeah, Sinful used to like that video right there. He used to play that shit all the time because Monster Cody was spitting on there. Oh, somebody called themselves trying to slander bro in the chat, huh? Oh, I see the comment, yeah. Yeah, you know, it's always a lame. That's one thing I done figured out about life. You can't, like Sinful the P said, you can't escape stupid bitch season. You can't escape lames either. Lames is everywhere. They gonna be there. Yeah, if the video get to tripping, just close it and come back in. Yeah, Monster Cody was spitting on there, man. Like, not only was his flow dope, but he actually had some bars in there. Like, he wasn't just, yeah, Monster Cody was cool, man. It's another video of him rapping, too. I can't remember how to find it, though. I seen another video of him rapping, too, though. But, yeah, Monster Cody was cool. But, yeah, man, getting back to this game that we never left. Listen, man. Okay, y'all got the likes looking cool, but I'm pretty sure some of y'all in here who have not wiped your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. So please do me a favor. Wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Hit that like button. OG Code say PPHG started in 89. You saying that, but then you saying nonsense, so it's like hard to believe what you saying. And I didn't hear that. I've heard from people from, I haven't heard it from nobody from that set though. The only people I met from PPHG was youngsters. They wasn't like, well, they would be considered OGs now, but back when I was young, they was young, and they not like put it like this. I ain't never met nobody first generation from PPHG, so I can't really say from the horse's mouth. God damn, this shit tripping. I can't really say from the horse's mouth what was said, but I've heard from people from San Bernardino that they started in the 90s. But I could be wrong. I don't know. You know, that ain't my world, so. Productive P said he was spitting on Kev Mack. Okay, that's probably where that other video is. Monster is the reason I like Trey D. Remind me of him. Yeah. A studio polished version of Monster Cody, Big Trey D. Yeah, I wish Monster Cody would have got in the booth and at least made one album. That would have been cool, man. To have an album from Monster Cody, that would have been cool. Oh man, I'm the only one buffering. Nah, Black Warrior Spirit is tripping on my end too. I can see it. That's why I say, you know, if the video get to tripping, just close it and open it back up. Go out, come back in, and you should be good. I've done the same thing a couple times in the past few minutes. So yeah, you might have to just do that. But it'll be all good though. Close out, come back in, you're good. Diabolical Work said that's the only thing they ever bring up on bruh. Shit lame, shaking my head. Yeah, Diabolical Work. See, what you got to understand is that you can't do nothing about somebody that hates themselves. You can't really do nothing about that. If a person hate themselves, that's something that they have to fix on their own. Right? You can't fix somebody that hates themselves and don't want to like themselves, don't want to love themselves. You know, they hate their reflection, they hate their mind, they hate the sound of their own voice, they hate the skin that they in. You can't do nothing about that, right? So with that being understood, you understand that a person who hates themselves, you know, when they see people that remind them of why they hate themselves, of course they're going to hate those people too. You know, like I've said before, man, if you wanted to be tall, but you was short, you was born short. I mean, your genetics didn't allow for you to be tall. you know, and you probably wanted to be tall because this girl that you had a crush on in high school, you know, she was always into tall guys, and you know, her boyfriends at the school was always the tall dudes, and you wanted action at this girl, but you know you didn't stand a chance because you wasn't tall enough, right? So, you know, if you see somebody that's tall and fly and charismatic and shit like that, you're going to hate that individual because they remind you of why you hate yourself, right? So, and the list goes on for, you know, so many other things. So, with that being said, man, you know, Sinful been gone almost 3 years now. But his memory lives on. So, you know, people still share his videos. People still make posts about Sinful. Rappers still sample Sinful in their songs. You know, it's still reminders of Sinful all over the internet. You know, people is constantly putting Sinful in your face one way or another. It ain't just me. You know, yeah, I still be posting, you know, Sinful's content and shit like that. But there's other people that are constantly, and then not just that, but people talk like bro still. You know, people steal his lingo. A lot of people probably using his lingo now and don't even know where it came from because they stole it from somebody that stole it from somebody that stole it from somebody that stole it from Sinful. So, but nonetheless, these are all reminders of bro. So if you think about that, it's gonna constantly remind people of why they hate themselves. You know, bro had a cold mouthpiece. You have a lot of dudes that wish they had a cold original mouthpiece, but they don't, and it's just not for them. It's not in them. But so when they see Sinful with his mouthpiece, you know, and people constantly putting that in their face, reminding them of why they hate themselves, you know, they ain't gonna have nothing good to say about bro. They gonna have something to say, but it ain't gonna be good. So, you know, I've gotten to a point now where, you know, that shit don't even, of course I ain't gonna let it, you know, go, you know, my mods, they get it before, a lot of times, like just now, before I can even see it, the mods is already on top of it, so it's cool. But just in general though, like that shit don't bother me. Like I don't get all bent out of shape because, like I say all the time, when you know the truth, lies don't really faze you. You know what I mean? They can sometimes, you know, especially when the lie get big and it starts spreading like wildfire. A lot of people start perpetuating the lie and all that type of shit. I get it. It could be frustrating. But when you just keep the truth in mind, it puts you at ease about the lies. It makes you not even toil trying to put out a bunch of fires started by liars. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't even sweat that shit no more, man. That shit is so played out. It's such an old broken record. Sinful was even at that point where, you know, he wasn't even fazed by that shit. So, you know, me that much more. You know, even with myself, you know, not as much as Sinful, but they, you know, they put that bullshit on me too. I don't even sweat that shit, man. That shit, you know. And like I said, what puts you at ease within knowing the truth is how much of the truth that you know. Not only do you know the truth about yourself or whoever it is that they lying about, but you know the truth. Like, you got to understand the place that comes from. If you understand the place that comes from, you might not even know the individual. Like the person who just said what they said in the chat, right? We don't even know who that is. But if you understand that has to come from a certain place, right? Like if you see an apple, you know it didn't come from an orange tree. You know it didn't come from a avocado tree. You know it didn't come from a grapefruit tree. If you see an apple, you know what kind of tree. You don't even have to see the tree that it came from to know what kind of tree it came from. You see an apple, you're like, oh, that had to come from an apple tree. So on the same token, when you see people say sucker shit, you know what type of person that has to come from. It has to come from somebody that hates themselves. When somebody says something that they know deliberately is a lie or twisting of the truth or whatever, like, or just some straight sucker shit, like, you know where that came from. You know where that came from. It didn't come from nobody that's solid. It didn't come from nobody that's respectable. Like, it came from a sucker. So when you understand that, and then you say to yourself, like, damn, why am I getting mad at what a sucker is doing or saying? Like, it's a sucker. Like, why am I, like, tripping off of that? You know, like, you know what I mean? Especially when they're not trying to cause harm in your life. Now, when they trying to cause harm in your life, that's a little bit different. Because as we know, it's certain suckers and cowards on the internet that try to cause real life harm in people's lives that they don't know past the internet. They hate you so much for what you say and do on the internet that they want to cause real life harm in your life. That's different. You know, as y'all know, I've experienced that. As you know, Sinful experienced that. That's a little bit different. But as far as just talking shit, like saying sucker shit on the internet, man, that shit don't even faze me. You know? Oh, okay, Don Supreme. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Wait, okay. Might be right here. Okay, hold on. Oh, I found it. Good looking. Oh, this ain't the video, but it's the audio, though. It's funny. It's good enough, though. It's better than nothing. Hold on.
I was on the yard and the cat come up to me and say, "Gangster got next." How in the fuck are you a gangster and you got next? I'm in the gangster car, homie. I just want to meet you, OG. Honored to meet you. I'm like, all right. Yeah, right. I said, where you from, homie? He said, I'm from Pimp, Player, Hustler, Gangster, Crip. I said, what? I said, where you from, homie? The dude said, Pimp, Player, Hustler, Gangster, Crip. I said, God damn, son, you need some psych. You need some mood stabilizer. Real talk. How can you be all that? The fact of the matter is you can't be a gangster, a pimp, a player, and a hustler all at the same time. Those are different professions. 100% 24-hour professions that are lanes that you have to stay in and dominate, or dominates you, and you fake it and you fucking up the game.
Mine racing. My little cousin started this shit.
I was on the yard and the cat.
Now, see, and I'm glad you found that, Don Supreme, because that's confirmation of what I've been saying, right? Now, you heard what he said towards the end, that each of those are lanes that you have to stay in, they professional 24-hour jobs, right? And lanes that you have to stay in order to dominate. So he said that you can't be a pimp, player, hustler, and a gangster at the same time. What's in that a lot of these dudes is trying to do and be at the same time? Pimp and gangster. Or gangbanger in most instances. So you have it from a notorious veteran, you know, triple OG Crip, letting you know that you can't be a pimp and a gangster at the same time. You know what I mean? So, and that's coming from that side. That's coming from the gangster side of it. You know, it's not just a pimp telling you that. You just heard out a gangster's mouth. So, further confirmation of the information, as Sinful to P would say. You know. But, you know, shout out to the PPHGCs. I was in a pen with a dude from there. I was in a pen with a dude from Pimp, Player, Hustler, Gangster, Crip. And his name was Loon Deuce. And he was nice with the rapping. Like he I think I mentioned him before on a live stream before. But I don't know where he at, man. He was super turned up, man. So hopefully he all right, man. You know, this is over 20 years ago, man. But he was like super turned up. So, you know, he was super active. So hopefully he's still around. Hopefully he all right. I don't know. But I just remember he was nice with the rapping, man. So shout out to the PPHGCs. You dig? Tony Wick say, one thing Sin showed y'all, especially towards his last days, was don't waste your time. Exactly, man. Right, like Don Supreme say, how you gonna run phase in the park and catch enemy slipping, then go to the blade and pimp? Right, you know, it just like I said, it's a fool's endeavor. Only a fool would try to mix those two or be both of those things at the same time. Only a fool would do that. It just don't make no type of sense, you know. And it's unfortunate, man, because, you know, I ain't gonna say no names out of respect for the deceased, but it's some young dudes, man, who had a whole lot of potential to really, really pimp for real. But they just couldn't leave the gangbanging alone, man, and no longer here, man. It's a few cats that I know like that, man, that had great potential to pimp, you know, but the gang ties just, you know, followed them to the end, and that's how they met their demise, man. But that's the thing too, you know, like, and I know other cats that's still here, fortunately, that, you know, shootouts on the blade and all this type of shit. And it's like great potential to pimp. Like if you just dedicated yourself to this game and left that gangbanging shit alone and stopped trying to function with the homies and be with them activities and all that type of shit, man, you could really pimp. But, you know, some never learn and some learn the hard way, you know. But yeah, that shit don't mix at all, man. I know, I like, as I'm talking about this shit, it's just several like young cats that come to mind, like more and more young dudes be coming to mind in my head that's like had the potential to really pimp, man, but they just couldn't leave that shit alone. They couldn't leave their homies alone. And the cold part about it, you know, it's always been that way to a certain extent, but now it's more like that than ever, where, you know, when you go to the pen or when you die, a lot of your homies forget about you. And especially in today's times, because people's attention spans are so short. You know, you might have, if you're a blessed individual, man, when you go to the pen and you get a whole bunch of time and you gang banging, you might be blessed to have like one or two people, man, that's like really gonna hold you down and be solid. But most people gonna forget about you, you know? And if you pass away, same thing. You know, you might have one or two individuals, if you blessed, that's gonna, you know, keep your memory alive as much as they can. But for the most part, man, people don't care. They gonna forget about you. They ain't gonna, if you got kids, they ain't gonna take care of your kids or come check on your family and all, make sure your mama okay and all that. You know, most of them they not gonna do all that, you know. they gonna put it on you every other word out their mouth. Dead homies, dead homies, dead homies. But they not gonna do nothing for their dead homies' family that's still around or kids that's still around. You know, you got dead homies out your mouth all the time. But what have you done for your dead homies' family? You know, because you so dedicated to, you know, the gang shit. I thought I seen something moving out the corner of my eye. I'm like that. Did the lizard homie get on the table? I told y'all I seen a lizard up in here earlier before I started this live. There's probably a few of them in here, but like I said, lizards don't really bother me too much. It's the ants. Damn. Supposed the Prince said, like the pimping that died on Long Beach Boulevard, there was a Pyru and his hoe drove him to the Compton Sheriff's Station. That's crazy. I'm not familiar with that story. I probably am. I just saw a mouse in that joint. Now I ain't gonna lie. I don't fuck with mice. I'm cool. Mice, rats. I'll be on a mission. I end this live and I would not go to sleep until that thing was unalived. I don't play about mice and rats. That's what it was, because I'm looking at an ant. It's an ant on the wall crawling by and shit. I knew I wasn't tripping. I seen something. Like I said, there's ants all in here. Now, the ants do bother me. I don't like the ants. And these are the big red ants that bite. You know what I mean? So, I'm cool. But the lizards don't even bother me. I'm cool. The lizards is kind of cool. You know what I mean? That's like even though I don't have to feed them or nothing like that, they kind of like a pet. You know what I mean? No insurance, family struggling to get money for the funeral, but you just saying long live the homie, flashing paper. Right. You know what I mean? That's how it's gonna be, man. You know, so like gang banging has always had senselessness in it, but now it's just more it's more senseless than it's ever been, you know, to gang bang, because more so than ever. And then see, you got to understand how the culture's being influenced and changed now, right? Like now, because you got a lot of channels like that on YouTube and social media too, right? You have a lot of channels that promote certain gangbangers or gang wars. Like, these two hoods is beefing in its content. You know what I mean? And they even be naming certain individuals. It's kind of like the war in Chirac with academics. You remember how academics made a lot of gang members in Chicago famous by doing content about them and giving them nicknames and all that type of shit. But academics kicked up a lot of bullshit with that shit, right? But now you have a lot of his grandchildren in LA, and they kind of doing the same thing that academics was doing, but like even worse, because a lot of these dudes be even more detailed about the shit. And you know, they'll tell you different instances about when this hood got into it with this hood, and which individual from this hood went and rolled on them, and which ones from over here came back, and like they be giving descriptive details about the shit, right? And making content out of it. So a lot of gang members understand this in LA, right? So it seems like it's an energy, probably not amongst all gangbangers that's active in LA, but with a lot of them, they know that if they turned up to a certain, if they create a reputation for themselves in the streets, you know, they could get clout on the internet, right? So it's almost like an incentive to participate in the nonsense to the point where it makes it to the social medias, and you know, they talking about you. And That's just like, for instance, right? Y'all probably seen on the news, and this is how people on social media be, like the internet be, like I said, clout is an addiction. Snitching on yourself is an addiction, or snitching on other people is an addiction, because it's clout associated with it, but it's snitching. But it's an addiction though, right? Now y'all probably seen on the news in LA in the past few days, it's been several shootings. A lot of people been shot, few people done passed away within these several different shootings, right? Now, I'm not even gonna give details, but if you know, you know, right? But these shootings have taken place in certain areas, right? And if you're familiar with LA, if this shooting took place in this area, you know what gang is in that area. And then if this shooting took place over here, you know what gang is in that area. And you know who this gang doesn't get along with, and you know who that gang doesn't get along with. So the media may not be privy to all of that, right? So when the media reports this shit, the media might say, yeah, you know, 2 people got shot on this street over here. One of them died, and then the other shooting that took place either that same day or within 24 hours of it, you know, took place over here. And in this shooting, I think 5 people were shot, or 11 people, or 10 people, some bunch of people were shot. I think 1 or 2 of them passed away, whatever, right? But whatever the case, the news will just tell you where it happened at. But the news might not tell you what gang is in that area and what gang is in this area and all of that, right? But if you're familiar with LA, you can put it together yourself like, oh, you know, this might have took place, right? You could jump to your own conclusions. You know, that's one thing. But then you have content creators that's like, oh, they'll put it together and make content out of it. They'll give names, like they'll say this gang over here got hit, and then such and such from this gang spun the block and went back and rode on this gang and did, and they tying it to the news situation. You know what I mean? So not only are you snitching, but it's a sickness out there. What's crazy about it, like, we live in a time now where the dudes on the streets just being named in these videos, they don't even have a fear of like, damn, these fools is telling on me on the internet. They like, damn, they talking about me on the internet. Man, check out that video where dude said that I did this and did that. Or they doing it themselves. This is the dumbest shit in the world. This is why I say gangbanging has reached an all-time high when it comes to senselessness. Now, I know y'all, if y'all follow like certain shit on social media, or if it cross your feed, you familiar with some of the shit that I'm about to mention, right? And again, I'm not gonna say nobody's names, right? Even if they telling on themselves, I'm not gonna tell on them, right? But it's become a real thing where this dude from this gang will go rob one of his enemies, and then put the shit on social media that he took from his enemy, and let everybody know that he's the one that took it from his enemy, right? Some of y'all probably done seen it on social media, but it's a little thing going on between these 2 dudes that, you know, keep doing shit to each other and then get on social media and talk about it. It's crazy. Like, it's the dumbest shit in the world. They've really turned it into like reality TV, but it's like a soap opera. It's like All My Children, One Life to Live, The Young and the Restless, but it's reality though. But the saga continues. It's like one thing after another, after another, after another. And they doing shit to each other. And it's like, don't y'all know that y'all can go to prison for a long time for this shit? And they recording themselves doing it. Like, this one will do this to his enemy, and he'll record himself doing it. He'll record himself in the act of doing this to his enemy, and then he'll go back and make a video talking about the shit, and then his enemy will come back and do something similar to him, record himself doing it, and then go back and make a video talking about the shit. It sounds ridiculous, but this is real shit that's really going on. You know what I mean? I see people in the comments mentioning names and shit like that. Hey, man, leave that to them. They do that enough theyself. But it's ridiculous. I sit back and I see this shit. I'm like, this is real? Like, this is really going on. This ain't and it's not a skit. That's the thing about it. I know a lot of y'all see shit and y'all be like, man, that's a skit. This it's a skit, all right, but it ain't a fake skit. You know what I mean? Like, you see the shit and you be like, nah, that's not real. They not really doing that. They really doing it. And you can go to prison for a long time for this shit. And they are doing this. Shit crazy, man. It's crazy. And like I said, you know, it's the clout. So back to what I was saying about the shit that done took place in the past like week or so, where all these shootings in LA done took place. You got people on the internet that tie it together, and you know they scour social media to figure out names and shit like that because they know people gonna talk about it, you know, and then they go to YouTube and make content out of it. And, you know, I don't know. That shit is just crazy to me. Like, I can't do that. Like, you know, you got to have some integrity about yourself even when you do content, man. And me, I don't see people like that thriving and lasting long as content creators. Freeze, you know, DC Baby Draco was a skit yet. Yeah, I've been seeing that. I seen that like the same night. Like after I was done with the live, I seen that shit. So, yeah, you know, but the shit that I'm talking about ain't no skit. You know what I mean? The shit that I'm talking about that's going on in LA right now, it's not fake. It's not fake at all. And, you know, hopefully them young dudes will wise up, man. It's just crazy. It's crazy. But, yeah, man, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing on up. Because it's Friday night. And I still want to go take a look and see what's going on outside, man. So, we going to wrap this thing up, man. Hey, listen. If you ain't wiped your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain, please wipe your feet off at the door when you step out. Or before you step out, hit that like button. Hi, we got 304 likes. You dig. See. Okay. All right, man, we're going to wrap this thing on up. As always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. I appreciate all the shares. I appreciate all the comments, questions, jokes, input, feedback, all that good stuff. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate you hitting the bell when you subscribe. I appreciate all the super chats, the cash apps, the PayPals. I appreciate your support in every which way that it comes with it, man. Y'all already know who it is and what it is. Freeze is it. If you out in traffic moving around, please do so in a safe fashion. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out.